everybody. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Fab. Thank you so much for your patience. It's the first ever time I've had any issues with Zoom, so that's my one out the way now. Thanks for joining us. I know Nikayla's done all of the intros. I'm going to get straight cracking on with the session. So as you all know, I'm Kirsty, I'm from Yellow Jigsaw. I'm the media director at Yellow Jigsaw. And my background is predominantly in journalism. So I worked for the Manchester Evening News for 12 years, but I've also worked for national charities. And in this ever-changing media world, on the PR and marketing side, we're always trying to upskill ourselves where we can do these services without having to outsource them. And I have found Canva just been, I don't know how I lived without it before, to be honest, because it has been so good for everything that I do with all the different organisations that I work with, doing their social media and creating the variety of posts that we do for them. So I'm hoping by the end of this session, you're going to feel like you are a professional designer at the end of it. I've had a variety of people on these sessions, some who have used Canva before, some who never have, some who are very creative, some who don't feel like they've got a creative bone in the body. So I'm hoping that with all of those different options, that Canva is so intuitive to be able to help you with doing all of these different lovely looking social media posts, that shouldn't be a problem for anybody. Can I just ask, are you all, have you all got Canva? Yeah. So if you want to work along with me, I know for those of you who have, then that would be great. If for whatever reason you haven't signed up to Canva yet, I do have a link, which means as social enterprises that you can get the Canva Pro version for free. There is some rules and regulations around that, so I'll send you the link and you can have a look into that. Some of you may be using the free version, so some of the stuff that I'll be talking about is specifically for the pro version, so you won't have all the functionality of the pro version on the free. I had a question yesterday about whether they should upgrade and pay for it if they are not eligible for the pro version. My response really is no, because it's got so many good things that you can do within the free version that at this point I would say stick at it with that way. So I'll start sharing my screen. Everybody see that okay? Great. So for those of you who have got it open up, hopefully you're seeing the exact same thing as I am. This is your home page for Canva. And what I'm going to do is give you a guided tour around the platform for you to be able to get to grips with it and know how to use that. Once we've had a guided tour, we'll obviously be looking through the different features of being able to add text, to being able to add photos, how you can be adding different graphics to your social media posts, and then of course, vitally knowing the best way to download it and how to use it. I also think it'll be good for us to think about branded guidelines. Some of you may already have those within your organisations, but for those of you who haven't, we've got examples of how we would use those as well. So we'll start at the top. Here, obviously, it shows that we're on our home page. And if you go along to the right-hand side of that, you've got all of your different templates.
Right, can I just ask, mine doesn't look like yours. Is that because I'm just on my
phone? In what way doesn't it look like mine?
It's not the same layout at all.
In terms of this down the side and...
Yeah, in terms of the heading, like there's no headings up the top or down the side, yeah.
Are you already in one of to do a post?
No, I'm just in Canva. I can go into templates or explore Canva.
Have you logged in?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Can I, it might be useful for you to show me.
Okay.
Nikayla, can you let somebody else share the screen? Oh, you on a phone?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it will look slightly different as an app. That's so what you'll see on a desktop compared to what you'll see on the mobile phone app is slightly different.
Okay.
It should have all the same functionality, but it won't appear the same. So I'll do my best to cover the app as well. If you do get the opportunity, I would, it was a question I had again yesterday, try and use it as on the web version from a laptop or computer, because the app for Canva can be a bit clunky, a bit clumsy. So if you're trying to do designs, I would say it'd be better for you to do it on a computer screen where possible.
I can obviously sign in on the computer, but then I won't be looking at you. Is that still better to sign in on the computer? Which is better?
Do you want to follow what I'm doing on the computer? And then towards the end of the session is when I have a bit of a have a go time. So then I can get off my screen so you can get yours up as well. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So at the top here, we have the templates section, and it's got a little drop down on it. We're obviously focusing today predominantly on social media, but you'll see within these templates that it's just endless in terms of what you can do. So if you want to be creating a Facebook post, Twitter post, Instagram stories, it's got all the different shapes and sizes that you could possibly need for any social media channel. On top of social media, which I'll just touch on a little bit, because obviously you're going to be using Canva for other things other than social media posts. You can create some fantastic presentations if you wanted to do posters, new business cards, you name it, it's got it. So you can go into templates to have as one way of getting to the social media posts. So, and click down into one of these. You can also be on your home page and search any of them here. So if you specifically wanted a Twitter size post, you can put that in the search bar, and you can scroll down and it'll give you the dimensions that you need for that. That's the one that I would say, I tend to just use the square social media design. So if I search social media, you can click on it and it brings you up all these different squares. So obviously there's a blank one, which for those of you who have used it before and feel a bit more confident, you might want to start from scratch. But the great thing about Canva is that it'll show you all these different designs. Obviously, it's not going to be the wording you need, or might not even be the colors that you need. But if it catches your eye and you think, oh, that'll look good, but with my organization's take on it, then you can start with one of these to be able to do that. So if you click on a design, it'll come in here for you. And all of the sections within this are editable. So if you wanted this to be a different color, let's think of flourish. So you would want to change that to pink. You can change the text and all the different pictures that are in it. So my suggestion would be, when you're starting out, to have a really good look through those social media post templates and think, what can I nick? What ideas are going to give it? What's going to give me inspiration for my social media posts? But some of you might be a bit braver than that and want to start from scratch with the blank one. The other thing, what I was saying about Twitter, is that you have it as a specific size that you can do. The same with Facebook and all of the other ones. If you're going to move away from the square social media post, the square one works fantastic for Instagram. It works fantastic for Facebook. But with Twitter, the square one does cut you off a little bit. So you can do specific Twitter posts that are the exact shape and size that you're going to need for that. And of course, Instagram stories are long rectangles. So if you were doing designs for that, you would need that one specifically too. All of which are searchable within there. So 3 ways of getting to your different templates: having a search in here, going into the templates section there, or you would just click on starting to create a design, which is in this top right hand corner. The next one along is features, and this is another way of just showing you everything that it has in its whole file of different things you can use within Canva. So photos, different icons that you can use. So looking at that Twitter icon or Facebook icon that you can customize to the colors of your organization. And obviously, I said before that beyond that, you can do everything from printing within there and all those different options. We are focusing on the social media posts. So the ones that we will be looking at is definitely photos and icons within the features that it's got. And the last thing on this bar that I just wanted to flag up is the learn section. So hopefully you get lots out of today's session. But within that learn, there's lots of videos, blogs, tutorials that you can follow through. So if you wanted to get a bit more practice that you can work along with on the videos in there, always good to know that you can go back to those and touch upon different aspects of what you want to be doing on Canva. In this left-hand side section, we have all your designs. For a lot of you, if you're brand new to it, obviously there won't be anything in there, but if I click on it, as you can see how much of a lifeline Canva is for me and all the variety of different pieces of work that I do. So that's where I would find all of my designs. You've also got this search bar in here where I would be able to look for different stuff that I've been designing because I've given them different names. So you can use those in there. The next section down is shared with you. So within Canva, you can create a community where if other people are also working in Canva, they can share designs with you that you can edit as well. So if you were working on something together as a part of your teams. These are all clickable and editable in the same way as if you'd started the design from scratch. The next one down, now this functionality is more within the pro section than in the free one, but you can add your own logos. So if you just click onto the add button, it will go to your files for you to be able to upload your own logo from your normal computer files. You can also add your own colours, which is great to be able to think, right, I need to stick to a palette that suits my organisation, that is going to be instantly recognisable as us on social media, because let's not forget, this is all about you being able to engage with audiences on social media. And one of the key parts to do with that is making sure that you've got a strong brand recognition. So again, using Flourish as an example, you know it's Flourish when you see that lovely vibrant pinky purple colour and the different icons that they have. So that would be something that you'd be recommending to bring in to your colours. You can add these in the same way with the add button. We often find with clients that they don't know their colour codes for their organisation. If you do, great, you can just type it in where you can see that I'm highlighting here. If you don't know them, don't worry, because I'm going to show you a few tricks in terms of how you will be able to collect those colour codes for your organisation. You'll also see here that you can have your own brand fonts. I work with lots of different organisations, hence why there's so many different fonts in this section. But if I scroll down to the bottom, you'll see there's an upload of font section. And again, if you've got fonts that you use on your website and you've got access to those files, then you can upload them into Canva to be able to use your own fonts within Canva to, again, for that strong brand recognition. If you haven't got your own fonts, don't worry, there's hundreds to choose from in Canva, which can slightly be the problem sometimes, that there's too much choice, but you can settle on one that you know you're going to use, which is like the style of the fonts that you would be using on your website, and stick to those so you can keep them as a strong brand recognition. I'm going to ignore the content planner section and the create your team, because those aren't ones that you specifically be using. All your folders. So what I would I strongly recommend from the start, which is something that I never did when using Canva, is split up your designs. So as you can see in the all your designs section, there's lots and lots and lots of them, and they're all for different people's work that we work with. What would have been really handy for me to do from the beginning is using this folder section and separating out the different clients and their work, rather than me having to use this search bar if I'm trying to find something all the time. So I would strongly recommend that you do that from the start. I know it might be all for your own organizational work, but you might have particular campaigns that you're doing during the year. So, and even if it was just to do with awareness days or, you know, seasons, that you can have a file where you know that you've got social media posts that are specifically catered for Christmas or whatever it may be, that you will be able to go in there and easily find them. So take my recommendation on that one. And then obviously you've got the bin section, or trash as it is on here. Canva is an Australian program, so there's some different wordings than we would use necessarily here. So I'm going to get into showing you a particular how to start creating your social media posts. If you can see in this top right hand section, you've got create a design. If you click on that, you can search which style of post you want to start creating. So social media, as I said before, I'm going to stick to a square design. You saw in the template section before that it has got all the templates, so you could have used this way to get to it where we needed to go, but I tend to use the create a design section. And just like you saw within that templates button, we've got here lots of different things for you to be able to use as templates. So you might not be comfortable with starting from scratch, and you want to try and use one of those to adapt to your organization. So there's lots to search through here. You can also search something in particular. So it might be that you're wanting to create a bank of social media posts. There's a theme coming here. I'm a big Christmas fan, so I tend to always use that as my go-to search word, where it'll bring up templates for you to be able to do here. So say your organization is something that makes handmade gifts, you can pick this up to be able to use as an image. This you can adapt in terms of the wording to be able to use on it, but you're already halfway there without having to put in a minimal amount of effort in terms of how you want to create those posts. If you change your mind, you quite fancy the look of this one, you can just keep clicking on them and it'll upload the ones that you're trying to get in there. In all of these, like I say, if you are going to go with a template, you can edit all of these words. So if you click into that section, you can then just start typing. And you can adapt all of those words within there. This picture, it's movable, so you click on it and hold your finger down so you can move that around. You can also change the size of it. So every time you've got this blue lines around something, that means that's the area within Canva that you're working on. And you can use that to move it up and down and change the size. You can also see that now it's got the blue lines around the background color, and it's popped up here for me. And I want to change the color of that to a pink. My text doesn't work now in that color, so you can go to this top section here, which is very much like any Word type program, where you can change the color of the font. You can change the size of the font, the style of the font that you want to use, whether you're going to put something all in upper or lowercase, whether it was going to be centered or left or right alignment. This one helps you make lists, do bullet points, and then you've got other sections that you can do in terms of spacing, so changing the gaps in between the lettering to spread it out, make it closer together, and also the height lines. So lots of different things that you can be doing when you're starting with a template, so that you don't have to start from scratch.
Add a text box or anything, say if you wanted to, you know, the bit that's just pink in the middle, if you wanted to add some words or a picture in there, can you do that? In
this section here?
Yeah.
Yeah, so all of this is adaptable. I'll show that to you in a second in terms of how you can do that. I'll get rid of this one, so we're starting from scratch again. So if you're wanting to use templates, that's the way that you'd be able to do it. Otherwise, if you're thinking, okay, I want to start one of my own from scratch, I'm feeling comfortable with it, I've got inspiration from looking at some of these templates, but I now know what it is that I want to do. So there's lots of different functionality that you can use in the left-hand side of this column. I'll start with the next one down. So this is uploads. So that means you can upload all of your own photos. You can upload your logo. You can see here's one I've prepared earlier with flourishes. So you can have that. And all you do is if you go to upload media and device, it gets into your file system again. So wherever you keep anything on your desktop in different files, it'll link to there and you'll be able to add yours in. once it's in this upload section, all you need to do is click on it and then it drops it into here for you. You can either click on it or drag it and move it into this section. So once you start
you
building,
can do some clever stuff as well there, Kirsty. I'm looking at this picture of Grace and she's holding up her own sort of speech bubble.
That's
so
right.
If you want to get creative, I suppose you can take pictures in a certain way with speech bubbles or with signs or whatever, and then you can put your own text over the top.
Yeah, that's you've hit the nail on the head. That's exactly why we do it. So I'll just drop Grace in. I hope she won't mind. But so for this, for example, we do a lot of work in schools and we want different messaging or campaign work that you're doing with your organisations. You could be holding up a blank piece of paper and add your different messaging onto there. So I'll leave it in there just to demonstrate that to you in a minute. So that's how you upload your own images. We've got a lovely one of you here, Nicola.
Of the week, yes.
So I'll just make another copy of that so I can keep it up there. So that's how you drop in your logos, your pictures. You can also, which is really nice, that you can drop videos in too. So you've got, as you probably know, that videos go down really well on social media. So great to have movement within those. And you can also add audio. I know quite a few of you are audio fans. And we use that not only for social media posts, but obviously for creating presentations and things. So it would be great to add stuff into it that way. The next section down, so we've not always got the best photos, have we? I don't know about you guys at your organisations, but all the clients that we work with, some have got great team photos like this one with Nicola here, but others sometimes struggle to think, right, well, what picture am I going to use to be able to promote this certain idea that we're doing or the campaign that we're running? We haven't got the strong imagery. Number one, I would say always make sure you have got good photos within your organisation to be able to use. But if you are struggling and it's something that you want to do as a last minute job that you're thinking, oh, I've not, I want to say happy Halloween, for example, if we're thinking back to last week, or it's bonfire night tomorrow. So if we go to the photos section, and I can search anything in here and it will give me an example of a picture, some better than others, I've got to say, but let's use fireworks as an example. And then it'll bring lots of lovely pictures in here for me to be able to use.
And these are all free, I'm guessing, open access?
Yeah, well, there's, again, for the people who have got the free version rather than the pro version of Canva, you can see here in this, can you see in the corner where it's got this crown and pro? So generally speaking, there's some that you will always get for free in the free images, and they are good. You know, you don't necessarily have to pay for things, but you may have your heart set on a particular image that you've found within this section. So if you're not on the pro version, there will be a slight cost to those, but you don't have to sign up to something that's on a monthly fee to be able to do that. Once you get to the downloading your image part, you can pay for individual ones, and I think it works out about 80p. So if there was a photo that you really wanted to use or an icon, then you can always charge them as on an individual basis. But where possible, try and use the images that are free. So if you've got the pro version of Canva, all of those will be free. As it turns out, this particular image works really well with the Flourish logo in terms of the colours that it picked out. So if Nicola was so inclined to be wishing people, you know, hope 2021 is a blast for us, or linking into something to do with bonfire night that that will relate to business, you've always got to be thinking, how can I, you know, link into certain days of the week or awareness days that are coming up, and Canva can really help you with that. So anything, you name it, you can type it in here. Another project that we do, we work with children a lot. So if I was just to search kids, it'll bring up lots and lots of different photos. So we do work with a school nursery. So if they haven't got great images or they haven't got permission even to use some of those images, then I can make sure that we can use a safe bank of photos that are on here. So you can search anything in there.
So Kirsty, can I just ask a question?
Yeah,
So these photos, could you use them elsewhere?
Yeah, they're all copyright free for you to be able to use, which is a huge advantage, isn't it, of stuff that we're doing. We also run a website for older people, a news website, and quite often the photos that we get are submitted, and you've probably seen yourselves that you don't, when you're asking people for images, you don't always get the quality that you need. So you can use this as a way to be able to combat that. The next section down is called elements. So this is different ways to start making really attractive posts to be able to use. The first ones on that is lines. You can see that you get lots of different ways in which you can use these. I tend to try and use them to build up a pretty looking social media post. So if I was to drop something in like that, you can see here it's got this rotation part on it, so I can move it around. Or if you use these, the 4 arrows, you can grip it to move around. So if I would do something like put that in the corner there, it's got 3 different colors on it. So I might pick out another couple of colors to go along with that. And you're starting to already build up a pretty looking social media post. Obviously you can see that it's got arrows on there as well, which we use a lot of this graphic stuff to do infographics. Obviously work like Michaela does, where she's got to do impact reporting and all of that kind of stuff. It's great to pull out stats and do lots of pretty designs within Canva as well as social media posts for that. So that's one
question, Kirsty. So if you were to create, I've seen from the templates, there's A4 stuff, there's all manner of shapes and sizes, so I get that. And if you were to create something, and then I'm sure you will show us eventually, but I guess you can save this as a particular file and somehow save it to your own laptop as opposed to it being up in the ether. And when you have a graphic that you've designed perhaps in somewhere like this, can you take the background off it? You know, if you wanted to place it in a report or place it somewhere else.
Yeah, what do you mean by take the background off it?
If this was an image now and it was saved somewhere that I knew how to find it, I'd be in my Word document or in my PowerPoint or wherever it might be, and I'm going searching for this image to stick it in my report or my presentation, but it will come through with a white background and it might look clunky and a bit of a mess. So I just wonder, is there a way of it coming through without that white background so that you can place things in places? You're smiling like that. I like that smile.
Yeah, I will get to that, Michaela, when
awesome.
I'm going.
Sorry that you know my brain's like going.
Do you know what, people, the background remover thing is a new function, and I'm going to disappoint a few people that it's in the pro version, not in the free version. Right. But I have it a lot where people want it for their logos, so they've never been given a version where it hasn't got like a white box around it. I don't know whether yours has actually.
Oh, we've not got that. We need that. we had great graphic designers, and I'm sure if I went back to ask them, they'd take the background off, but it's another job you don't have to want to ask someone to do.
Yeah, and it used to be a bigger job and something that you had to do within Photoshop. So the fact that you can do it in something as quick and easy and as simple in Canva, it's just great to be able to have that. So I will come to those things.
Lovely jubbly, thank you.
So you can see here too that the other one that I use quite a lot is this shape section, just to build up different types of designs. So if I was to drop in a circle, for example, get rid of the lines for now.
Can I ask a question? Well, you go, sorry, because can you reorder things? So let's say you wanted that circle and those lines, you can move things backwards and forwards like you could in a...
Yeah, so say if I was to drop a heart in there as well, but I want them to overlap, but I want the heart to be behind. You can see here where it says position in the top right hand corner.
Sorry, I'm just looking. Forgive me for being thick. Where's position?
So
there you are. Yes, you're behind our faces. I can see that.
So then you can go backwards to be able to put it behind, forward, and it's just very movable around.
Easy when you know how. Thank you.
Same with photos, you can do that. So if you wanted to add a picture in, you can move that backwards and forwards as well in the same way. So shapes is another good one that I use. Again, I use it quite a lot for infographics. So if I was to put in some text on the top of this now, it is really stand out for you to be able to use it that way. It's a nice way to build up backgrounds as well. So if I used this square, you can drag it. The other thing I really like about Canva is it gives you these guidelines. So you know when you've got something perfectly centered. For all those people out there who, like me, would irritate if you didn't. We've lost the Flourish logo now, so bringing that back to the front. And then we can think about the colours that we're going to add into here. And then you can start building up a nice, pretty looking design just by using something as simple as bringing in some of these shapes. As well as shapes, you have got frames, which is really useful. So if I wanted to drop a frame in, I want to add a person to this because I'm going to use an image on this side, and then I'm going to add a quote into this side of the post. So I can find a photo within the photos that I've got, add somebody in. If all these people knew I was using them as an example. Once you've dropped, sorry, I probably went a bit too quickly there. So once you've found the photo that you want, it drops it in, like I said before, just by clicking onto it. But we've got this frame here now, and you always know it's a frame or a background because it's got this, the hills and the sky with the cloud in. So you can move the picture and it grabs it off you once you move it over the frame. And I don't like the position there of my friend Catherine, who needs to be a bit more into the picture. So you can double click onto that frame and then move the way that image sits in there, and then just click done. I can make it bigger, smaller, and manipulate that around as to where I want it to go within the section. So if I could place the image here, and then it gives you lots of nice space to add a quote. You know, somebody's told you that they think your service is fantastic and you got this lovely sound bite from it, and you really need to shout about that on social media. But if you were just to type it as a text in Twitter, for example, where you're limited on space, then that's not going to work for you. And this way it's going to grab somebody's attention. So using those frames is a great way of adding pictures in. As you can see from here as well, lots of wonderful different shapes and sizes for you to be able to use. I don't use a lot of different ones on here. I tend to stick to a circle or a square because it looks nice and clean. But I could understand, for example, if this one was used, somebody might have their organisation might be something to do with painting, and that would look quite nice as if it's like brush strokes. I do use these ones quite a lot though. So say, for example, you've launched a new website, or you've just gone mobile, and it'd be great for you to be able to drop images in here. What I do quite often with these is that I screenshot somebody's website, and then you place the image in here to say the website is launched. Again, when you put it in frames like this, you can customize them to the right colors for you too. So always have in the back of your head that you want to keep to brand. What I have found with people when they're using Canva is they get quite overwhelmed with all these templates, and then social media platforms end up having so many different colors and designs on it because they've just followed the templates to key. So making sure you're always customizing them is really important.
Just on that point, because I know we're not really covering branding today, but it's a key thing in any of this stuff. I mean, you'd probably give us a quick bit of good advice there. But when I've been involved in brands and branding before, having no more than maybe 3 or 4 colors max as your staple palette of colors, and they're either going to be your favorite colors that just blend well together, or something you've seen that works, or you go out to your customer or stakeholder audience and talk to them and see what colors best sum up what you do. There's different ways of working out what your colors should be, but they then are kind of your staple stuff.
Totally agree. 2 or 3 colors max. I tend to, because we do it for such a variety of people creating social media posts for them and poster designs, the main palette I go from tends to be from their logo. So with Flourish, that's quite easy because you've got this lovely distinctive color that sets you apart, and you know it's straight away that it's...
And yet we've got 4 colored logos. for different things, which
Yeah.
not a lot of people know. But
Well,
yeah,
that was for you, Nicola, and for anybody else who has certain branding colours that is meant to direct you to certain areas of work. This would be a great way to do that. So, you know, that if I see the pink of Flourish, then I know it's going to direct me to a certain area of what you do, and then your other colours would direct me to that. So that'd be a great way to be able to, when people are scrolling down a rabbit hole on social media, that they'll stand out to them that, oh, this one means it's about a training course, or this one means that it's about something else, that it would be easy for you to be able to spot that. So yeah, using no more than 2 or 3 colours. And I am going to touch a little bit on branding a bit later, but the same applies to text as well, really. Where possible, use your website text, but if you can't, pick a couple that you like in Canva and stick to just 2, I would say. It starts to look a bit messy once you see all these fancy fonts that are being used on stuff that, and if you don't stick to the same 2, then again, you're not getting that brand recognition. Other features within the elements section. So we've got these stickers. I don't use these very often, I've got to be honest, they are a bit odd, some of them. But I'll just pick one out as an example as to maybe how you could use this, because what we do know about social media is that they like moving parts. So if you can get stuff with movement on it, it's actually quite a good thing to be able to do. So if Nicola's launching a new product or service that she's doing, so you'd be able to use a rocket.
lift off.
Yeah, exactly. So once you start seeing these things, it starts to give you inspiration as to how you can work with them. But yeah, as you can see within this section, they're a bit odd. The only other things within elements that I use, so again,
sorry, can I just see some of these ones that have a word already on them, like love, and you had one down there, weekend. Do you just have to use the words, or can you change those? Oh, sorry, like that weekend one caught my, well, the weekend one caught my thing, but even that one, can you change the word on that?
Not on the stickers, no.
Right.
That they have to stay like that. So I don't know if any of you use Instagram, but it's like the stuff that you get in Instagram stories, that you just have to be able to search what you'd be looking for.
It's a bit like a GIF, isn't it? A bit like, you know, I know it's not, it's a kind of GIF in a way, isn't it? It's a short moving thing.
Yeah.
So you can still, you know, if there was a particular word you wanted to use, you can still search it within there to be able to do that, if that would help.
Yeah,
but those stickers unfortunately are not
being designed by, you know, 15-year-olds in God knows where.
Yeah, because as you say, they look a bit, I mean, okay, there's a whole load of, say, coronavirus. Wow. Although they look pretty boring.
I know, don't they just? We'll stay clear of those ones. The next section, so following on from the stickers, you've got this chart section. Now, I think this one will excite a few people amongst us who have to do lots of impact reporting. And I found it really useful of late. I'll just show you how they work, and then show you an example of how I've used them for somebody else. Ooh. So looks like it's not going to be easy to use, but it's really, really easy. The best thing I love about Canva, everything is so intuitive. I feel like I should be getting commission from Canva sometimes, to be honest, when I'm doing these sessions.
Absolutely. Ooh.
So you add a bar chart in. Oh, I like the little woo.
Tony Boris and Chris Whittier knew these existed.
So, I didn't know they were, yeah.
So you can drop a chart in here. We'll just say goodbye for a minute to the picture.
Bye.
So if you drop this in here, and you can see on the left-hand side, if you click on it, and you can see edit here. So then it brings up your bar chart information. And the other thing that's great, I'll show you this first. So you can add in whatever your items are here. These just happen to be the names of my children. They're not all my children, actually, some are. But you can add in, and then you can obviously change the place values as well on these. So and then it'll automatically change it on the chart for you, which is very exciting. Well, I think it's very exciting.
I like that.
You can change the colour, so we can add
Although the one thing I would complain about it is it hasn't got a vertical and a horizontal.
You mean to indicate what they mean?
Yeah.
You can add that in yourself. Yeah, I've had to do that. So you can change the font on it. So again, so it sticks to your branding, the different sizes, and the text colour. I know that's a colour clash, I'm just demonstrating, but there we go. And then the other thing you can do, so you think, oh, well, actually it'd look better in a pie chart rather than a bar chart. Instead of having to click and find another one again, you can go on this drop down and it changes it for you.
Ooh.
So it's really great to be able to add in, and not only for reports, you know, if you were using an A4 document rather than a social media post, you could put it in as a report, but more often than not, it's quite nice to show some of your stats on social media as well, as long as they're not too complicated and the ones that people can easily understand with a little caption that goes alongside it, then I would say use them on social media. I'll just show you in here how I used it to my advantage. So I helped build a women's health report, and lots of statistics that go in here. You know, obviously pulling out stuff like this works really well. I've even got the graphic for coronavirus in there, which, but, you know, just doing simple things like this, but I'll just find one of the charts to show you. So here, you can add in what I did as an example on this. You're very right about not knowing what they are in terms of, so when you're editing them, you can put in the names of what the thing is, but then you would be able to add the different sections of text yourself to give the different axes of what's needed on it.
Oh, so you'd click on the text and bring it in, right? Okay.
So can you see here where I've put number of women who choose this option? I just used that in the text section and added it in myself outside of the chart for you to be able to do that.
Brilliant.
So slightly out of the realms of creating a social media post, but
Can I
it's
ask
all
a quick
useful.
question there, Kirsty? That report that you showed us, did you stack that up in Canva? So you
So what I tend to do now, this is a
stack that up. I mean, put it together and lay it all out and insert.
Yeah. So I did it in as a Word document first of all, obviously, so it's easy to just drop the text in.
Yeah.
But everything design-wise is all done in Canva. So it looks really
what do you
pretty.
mean? You mean you wrote out all the text in a Word document so you could copy and paste it straight in here? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I did do that just because I don't like working straight into Canva when you've got chunky amounts of text, because obviously you can proofread it a lot better. And then I would actually download it as this version to do my final proofread before you send it over to somebody. But
when you've done it like this, you can then resave it as a Word document and keep working.
You'd save it as a PDF.
I was going to say,
yeah, save as a PDF within here.
So you can only edit it on Canva. You can't edit it.
Only edit it on Canva, yeah.
Well, it looks flipping brilliant.
Why, thank you very much. So in terms, so I would use, you know, charts on social media posts. I'd just make sure they were really simple ones. And you can see what it's done here with the pie chart. So they know that the color I want to use is this purpley pink color. So it's chosen for me colors that sit well with that. So everything, like I say, is very intuitive within Canva. This one I use a lot. So underneath the charts, you can see grids. Now I tend to use grids more than frames for adding pictures in. And I'll tell you why, because if I click on one and drop it in, it covers the whole of the area. So if we go back again to my picture, drop it in the same way as you would do a frame, which looks quite nice like that, doesn't it, with the logo at the bottom here. Sometimes something as simple as just using a photo works really well as social media posts. My key to any of this stuff is keep it as simple as possible. Don't make it busy. But it might be that I want to change this so it fits in this frame. And what I'll prefer about these grids rather than frames is that you can manipulate, sorry about that, keeps flicking. You can do the size of it that moves around like that. Oh God, something's going. Not having much luck with computers today, am I? So you can manipulate it in a different way than the frames, whereas with frames you can just make it bigger or smaller, so you can't change the proportion of the photo as easily.
Oh, so you mean that even the ratio can change? It doesn't have to stay a square. It could have gone into a rectangle and stuff. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, so it can change into a rectangle. It'll still be within a square shape, so it can't change to rounded edges with the grids, but for that you would have to use the frames. The other thing I use the grids for, if you can see here, so if I was to drop this one in, I can have the lovely group photo here, and that drops in.
Yeah,
we could add in, I mean, I'm just picking stuff at random here now, but you can add in all different types of photos so that you've got this lovely grid to be able to go on there. And you've got 3 photos that have been placed really nicely already rather than you having to mess around with how they fit.
Yeah, yeah.
The other thing I use it for is, so say this was an A4 document, again, sorry, going slightly out of the social media posting, but it is useful stuff to know. So I would do that. So if I was wanting to write like as if it was a newspaper column, I'd use these frames as my guide so that I've got a nice space in between where the text would go.
So you can click text. So you would put that grid up and then click text to put text in it instead of a picture. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. So can you see can you see the blue lines around this first one here?
Yes.
So if I go on to the color, it'll fill it white for me. So now I could put text over the top of that. So it might be that I want to put text in that column, but these ones I want to put 2 pictures in still. Yeah. So it looks nice against each other.
Right.
It's just a great way to have a guide for you.
Yeah, I like that.
To be perfectly honest, that's where I'm going to stop with the elements section, because they do get a bit weird and wonderful. And I would say if you're wanting to search anything particularly, let's do Christmas again. I will have Christmas. You can have so I can search anything, like I say, within here again to click on that. I can even make it a flourish coloured Christmas tree. So something as simple as putting that on there, typing in Happy Christmas, and you've got a lovely little looking social media post to be able to wish everybody have a Christmas. Just for a giggle, because we don't get to giggle about it much, do we? You can put in...
Oh, God. Is there a giggle on it? Go on, then.
So, you know, the chances are you might be doing posts about coronavirus, how you're having to change a service or what you're doing. So there is icons that you can link into here if you need it. But as I say, this search element within Elements really is endless. So you can type anything there. I'm sorry I missed your intros, but I'm sure you've all a variety of different organisations and things that you do. But for example, if I was to type health in here, then it'll come up with different stuff that I can drop in, all of which are going to be something that I can edit. Women, these are all great again for doing infographic, to spell it right, for putting infographics in. So all different things that you can do, anything you can search, do those elements.
What I liked with a lot of these as well is, like, I'm accountancy, so put accountancy in, it gives you stuff up, right? I don't know if it gives it, how much it gives up on there. Oh, yeah, that's the spelling I always put in. Accountancy. So it gives you a load of stuff, but what I like is you can put it in and then you can also not necessarily make it, you're probably going to go on to this, sorry, but you can put it in and then make it less transparent, can't you? So it's just as a kind of image in the back. Like
yeah, that's true. So as you brought it up, I'll show you now.
Sorry.
I think you have to be a bit creative with what you're searching sometimes as well. So like you'll search accountancy, but
yeah, I know what you mean. I've done that too.
Yeah, and then you try and find other stuff that actually fits in a bit better. Yeah. But what you're saying is right. So if I wanted to say, although I quite like it that colour, but if you wanted it to like more blend into the background, if you can see here in the top right hand corner, it's got a button called transparency, and at the moment it's up at 100%, but you can put it into the background so that you can type over the top of it. People do this with the logo quite a lot as well, so if it's almost like a watermark, isn't it? So if you were to put this on and then you can change the transparency of that as well.
I noticed you can do it with the photos as well, because I picked photos of like calculators and stuff. and then put them as a kind of background.
Yeah, that works really well too.
Yeah.
So if we were to pick out a picture, I'll build it up like we did, like I said, with our grids. Drop that in. Take the transparency of it. It's got something behind it, so it's not going to like it as much.
Oh, right, because it's got the frame, right? Okay.
I'll take that off. But so you can do that, and obviously it's better to type over it once it's been the transparency has been taken down, but you still got a nod towards what you do.
Yeah.
And you can obviously you would be able to bring your logo back onto the top of that. The other thing I like to do as we're talking about it, so with these shapes, if I have photos, I sometimes drop a shape over the top of it.
Yes, I've done that, yeah. So that I can put my text. Oh, I don't do it like that. I know.
So then, and bring the transparency of that down. So you've still got your, so say again, if we use the, you've still got a nod to your branding colours on it, which works well.
And then how do you write over that? How do you put text on top of that?
I mean, I've put boxes in it, but I've then used it for like the text. You know what I mean? I've used it the text and it's got the idea of the calculator. Yeah, quite a lot.
So the other section on here is text. So we've got add in a heading, which, you know, you're all going to want different shapes and sizes for this. So you can pull it and drag it to change how you would do that. You can also change the size in this bar at the top, like you've got in Word documents. Changing what font it is that you want to use, changing the color of the font, and lots of different things within there. Again, because Canva likes to show you different ways that you can create stuff without you having to go into much effort. So you could pick one of their text templates. So say it was this one, but it's not your font and it's not the colors you want to use. So you can adapt that again as well. And instead of you having to build this up individually, within seconds, you've got a post that can be, you know, for your organization saying, we've got a sale on and it's in your branded colors. You'd be able to add your logo onto there, and so quick and easy and simple way of doing that. For those of you who have never worked in Canva before, I'm getting rid of stuff basically by highlighting it and then just pressing the delete button on my keyboard. So there's loads of different ones within this section that you would be able to use as templates. My caveat.
Can I ask you something now? You don't have to answer it just now, but I need to ask you now so that I remember that it's been asked. One of the problems I have is, so I've got, like, let's say my logo, and I've kept that as one of my designs. But then if I kind of try to reuse something, so if I try and use, let's say I use the logo, but I wanted to try and slightly change it, I tend to overwrite what the one that I tried to use originally. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I don't want to, so I'm not quite sure how to do that.
I'll show you that. I will be showing you how to do that as well, so don't worry. But yeah, within these, I would just use these as guides in terms of sizings. My caveat around using these, as much as some of them are really pretty and might fit into what you're wanting to do, is going back to that branding idea, like making sure that you don't overuse too many different fonts and text. Like sticking to your ones is the best way of doing that. Some of these, like you saw with the sale one, you can change to your particular font, but some of them obviously aren't going to work as well for that if you're changing this font into something that you wanted to do as your own. You know, it just doesn't look the same, does it? So you may as well start from scratch rather than using the templates on that. Styles is, I only ever use this really for inspiration. So as Nicola was saying before, that sticking to 3 colors is a great way of building up your brand, but you might not necessarily think what 3 colors go well with each other. So I use this as a bit of inspiration to think, oh, well, it's about a a forest school, for example, that I'm doing a post for. So these 3 colours would work together, and it just gives me a bit of inspiration as to what colour palettes to use on my posts. The music one, so you can now add music to your social media posts. And again, you can search a variety of different music that will come up here, some with more success than others. But you will be able to add jingle bells, for example, if you're wishing somebody Merry Christmas. So that I find useful. In the same way as I keep on saying, really, that social media posts that have got more than just an image stops people from scrolling through faster. So if you've got something that's got music on it, or it's got it's a GIF, or you have it as a short video clip, all of those work really well.
That's so this the point, isn't it, Kirsty? I was just going to say, as much as, you know, there'll be people sitting there, and I am sitting there thinking, oh God, how the hell do you find the hours in the day to do all this? You know, we're busy enough as it is. And, you know, we'll perhaps come back to that and think about that in a bit. But the point is, there is lots of stats out there showing that, as you say, the movement, it's how you capture and captivate people, and how you keep them on your information, and also how you compare and stand out with, you know, and keep up, unfortunately, with what your competitors or other people are doing.
And I think what I would say is that it might seem like it's really time consuming, but once you've got to grips with Canva, you could probably spend an hour a week, at the beginning of the week, at the end of the week, planning for the following week, and think, right, I want to definitely do. And I always give myself a target and think, right, I need to post 3 to 5 things this week. So what's that going to be? And then I will plan them out the week before to make sure that it doesn't feel like I'm scrambling around for something. And then if you've got other things that you want to post in between that, then it's just going to complement what you do. So these video clips, as we were saying about movement, again, is something nice and quick and easy that you can drop in there. I don't like things that look plonked. So that's when you go back to your elements and you're able to drop that into a grid, and it'll still work in the same way as a video.
Something that I've struggled with, something I've struggled with, and I don't know if other people have, is obviously we use a lot of Twitter, and other than certain links, I don't know how else to put a GIF in Twitter that isn't from their stock GIFs. I used to have an old format Twitter where I could copy like a picture link and it would let me keep it, but now I can't get that. And I just wondered if there's if
you've created your own GIF by using Canva, that you need to upload it as a video or image still. So don't go to the GIF section, just go to where it says upload photo or video, and then you should be able to do it in there. Okay. Yeah, and so videos can obviously be added into it, and so you can crop it here as well. There's certain timings for videos that you can have on different platforms. Off the top of my head, because they change it quite often, I think it's under 2 minutes for Twitter. You can have up to a minute for Instagram, and you can crop these to be shorter. I mean, with GIFs, you want them to be really short anyway. That's the point of it.
I like the idea of saying don't be spooked by accountancy.
Yeah, that's the thing. You find these images and you think, well, actually, that's given me inspiration to about. But I mean, my other caveat around that is that having a marketing strategy, going a bit off piste here, but having one in place that thinks, right, well, you know what time of year Halloween is every year. So if you've planned it out over 12 months to think, how can I utilize these different times of the year with stuff that I'm doing on social media, then that is the way that you should be thinking about it as a bigger plan, really.
Yeah, I'm naff at a marketing strategy.
The other one that you can use along this section, so after the videos, is backgrounds, where you can just put it in as a block color if you so wish, or you can use different backgrounds. Would be an appropriate Halloween one, or just adding in different textures on here. And again, like with everything else, there's a search bar at the top that you can put anything in there to think about how it's going to bring something up for you. To be able
and it can do transparency, I've just noticed as well.
Yeah.
I'm assuming because it's got it up there.
Yeah, you can change that too in terms of what you want to do on that. Just background's nice. If you know you want something that's going to fill the screen, then always go to the background section, because that's the quickest and easiest way of doing that. And let's be honest, all of this is with the aim of creating beautiful social media posts that's going to get interaction with your audiences. But the other big thing, as Nicola said, is making sure it saves you a lot of time too. So whatever you can do that's quick and easy, go for that.
I wonder as well, Kirsty, and it's just an observation, I don't know, you imagine like the M&S or the, I'm showing my age now, or the Top Shop, or, there's the high street where you could very easily step out and look like you're all wearing the same outfit. And I just wonder, will there come a point, it used to be that, clip art became a bit like, oh God, they've used clip art. I just wonder, is there a risk of all looking like the same through? I mean, there's that much stuff, I doubt it. And it's down to your own individual sort of tweaks to not just look like the same stuff that everyone else is churning out.
Yeah. I think you've answered your own question really, because it is about that customization bit, which is why I say the templates are really useful to have, but you need to put your stamp on it to make sure it is standing out as you. So if you've got a background that you're using, you've chosen your individual font and you're using your brand colors, that's what makes you have a professional looking social media graphic without looking like the rest of the world. So, and this, we've mentioned a couple of organizations there that I will guarantee use Canva to do their stuff, in the world of journalism, people where you see stuff that's popping up for them, it's all the stuff that's been done in Canva, Press Association use it, everybody uses it. So it's, and it doesn't pop out to you, does it? All like I mean, it does it for me in the know, but knowing that they've done it through Canva, it's putting that customization on that's really important. So the only other ones I wanted to flag up on this left-hand side, and then we'll just have a little bit of a break to grab a brew, grab a drink, is that which is quite exciting on this one for me, is the only one I use is the YouTube section. So in here, I don't know how many of you have got YouTube channels, but if you have, you can either put your link in the top there to find it or search the name of it. This is one of our projects. So you can have that, and then you pick it up and drop it in, and then you'd be able to download it with the YouTube as the YouTube post within there.
Oh, that's brilliant, because I've been rehashing some of my 3 minute with Morag videos, but because I put them in my YouTube and got my subtitles on it, I wanted to use my YouTube. So what I'd been doing was just copying the link, but actually that way I can actually take the whole video and include the subtitles. And brilliant.
Obviously, with the site, the length, this particular video that I've picked is like 45 minutes long, so it's not going to work on social media for me. But I use it quite a lot in presentations as well, where you can drop in a link to stuff that's an easy way for people to be able to use that. So that's the only one within that section that I would flag up. I'm going to pause there to be able to get yourselves a brew, give yourself a leg stretch, and then we'll come back and look through a few more of the functionality aspects of it. I'll have a look in the chat if you've dropped any questions in there. If you have got any further questions, let me know. And then we'll take a look at building up some more of these templates and then thinking about some brand guidelines as well. So I shall see you, shall we say, 30ish?
Yeah, it's 5 minutes, 5 to 8 minutes, that's fab. And will half an hour be all right for you, Kirsty, too?
That's fine. I mean, I'm happy to stay on a little bit longer if people need me to. Obviously, we had trouble at the start, so I'm more than happy to do that if people need me to do that.
Great, lovely. All right, well, we'll see you back at past. We'll grab a quick drink. I'm going to leave the video rolling just because it's easier than stopping it. So we'll see you shortly. See you back in 5. Thanks, Kirsty.
Videos onto that to social media.
Oh. Sorry, Gemma, were you asking a question there? It's hard to hear you, actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was asking, can you not add long video? You know, the way we're adding YouTube videos there, does that mean you can't add anything in terms of a link for something that's longer than like a few minutes, or can you? But it just won't play?
You can. So I think what Kirsty was saying is that if you were going to do that in Twitter or somewhere at certain... In Twitter, you've got about 2 minutes it would take. In Instagram, it might be a minute. But for example, if you were doing a PowerPoint presentation or you were doing a report and you wanted to add a link in to either continue delivering training or show a case study or bring a certain part of a report to life,
Yeah,
you could do that.
Yeah, and I think
Longer.
I've not actually tried it, Gemma, but in terms of social media, just give it a practice. I think, but if you just wanted to show it as a snippet, it just cut it off after the amount of time that it's allowed. But it might be a nice way to intro to say, you know, go to my YouTube channel to watch the full video if you want to use it that way for social media.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Cheers. Grab a quick drink. We'll see you in 5. Hi, Mickey. I was just going to say welcome. You've caught us on the break here. We're just having a 5-minute break, and then we've got the last half hour with the event running 11 till 1. But you're very welcome to join us for the last half hour, and we have recorded the session, so you will be able to pick back up on the listen again option.
Oh, that's great. I'm so sorry. I just completely got stuck in a car accident.
Oh dear.
Luckily, it wasn't my car accident. A friend of mine just got knocked, bumped into down the road from my house.
Oh gosh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Honestly, I've just ended up stepping there. So I'm just sat here with Zara as well, who's now off school.
Oh wow.
So honestly,
You say you've just had an accident?
Not myself, no. A friend of mine had an accident just on Park Road around the corner from my house.
I was just going to say, with it being recorded, I wasn't going to go into that too much, but we can obviously we can pick up later, and hope you're doing all right. Have you? Feel free to grab yourself a cup of tea or coffee or anything. People have just been grabbing a quick drink. I don't know if you need a minute to compose yourself or get ready, but I think we're due to start back at past, which is a couple of minutes away. So you've got a minute if you need it.
That's fine then. Thank you.
No problem.
I'll be faffing about, so I'll mute myself and turn off my camera because I'll be
Oh.
running through the house.
Okie dokie, no probs.
All right, see you in a bit.
All right,
Bye.
great. I think Kirsty's getting ready to show us some of the bits and bobs there, and I will. Great. So hopefully what people are hearing is been helpful so far. Obviously it's been a whistle stop tour, and it's a case of signing into Canva in your own right and creating, you know, 20 minutes, half an hour, 3 days, however long you need to start having a look at some of the elements. But I think we've had a really good look so far, and obviously there's more to come. And we will have a listen again video for you. So if you were things that you can't remember what was mentioned and you want to go back and have a look, at least you've got that to refer back to after today as well. It's a lot to take in one go, but lots of really useful stuff. So yes, I think it might change my life, Kirsty. So thank you. She's just getting organised. I'm going to just sit and eat my parking when it's that time of the year.
I love the idea of potentially making well, they don't often ask me to do their annual reviews, but potentially if one of my clients was to ask me to do annual reviews, I can use this. And also the idea of being able to put the graphs in, I never thought about that. And actually even using the grids to kind of do like the text and things, again, never thought of.
Yeah, no, it's certainly a way of professionalizing things or saving yourself an awful lot of time. You know, I'm a social value specialist and I write a number of social value reports. You know, we do a lot of the, you know, the creative thinking, the donkey work, the interviews, the questions. So we get all the data and we analyze it all, but I'm no graphic designer. And as much as I can tickle up and present things to a point, this will be a real godsend in terms of beautifying, or at least other colleagues of mine as well who work with me will be able to help on some of this front. So yes, big relief. And I can see now where you know, we're paying graphic designers from time to time to do things for us, and I can see here, you know, how they're using certain elements of this or certain principles, you know, to do stuff. And actually, sometimes there is a point to say there's only so many hours in the day, and if you can budget in for some of this stuff and have somebody like Kirsty or Grace or other graphic designers that we're in touch with, actually sometimes it's horses for courses, and you save your own time for what's important, for what you need to focus on, and bring in the experts for the rest.
Well, it's the same for all the services. Potentially it's the same for mine, isn't it? I mean, it is about, do you save your time to go and do your own business and let the experts do it quicker, but probably more expensive? Well, it's going to be more expensive than you costing nothing, isn't it? But yeah. And
in reality, this isn't costing nothing, because if it's taking you a few hours or half a day or whatever of your time, you know, it's all time. But
it is, and time's are only a limited resource, really, isn't it? Completely limited.
And time is money.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's great when organisations like Yellow Jigsaw, you know, not only do they do this stuff in their own right, but they can upskill us so that we can do the bits that we need to do. And especially as social enterprises, charities and other organisations, having some flexibility or having that option to at least get so far on your own or save yourself resources where you can. But also see the breadth of what's possible, so that where you can write into bids or into your sort of pricing structure, that additional support, you know, it can really help. So Kirsty, we've just been prattling away whilst we're on the break here, but hope you managed to get a drink there as well.
I did get a drink, yeah, and I'm jealous about the parking. I mean, that's a real sign of this time of year, isn't it?
I'm gutted though. I've not found any treacle toffee yet. I went and bought, well, not stupidly, because it's lovely. I picked up special toffee, Thornton special toffee instead of treacle. So
yeah, well, both are lovely.
Yeah. No, it really makes me reminisce about my dad's special toffee that you've just done now. I'll have to get myself some now, Nicola. So I've just got a few things in terms of functionality that I want to go through, and then obviously we can take questions about stuff if you're not unsure still about things. But you were talking about a few things that I'm hoping I'm going to be able to pick up for you now. So back to the start of what we were talking with this particular picture. So we were thinking about how you might do this and you may be able to set these type of pictures up. So I've dropped the picture into a frame, and then I want to add in some text. So you could think about how you were mocking up these. And that would be able to go into here. And then whatever it is that you wanted to have within this space, that you can manipulate that around using the correct font for this organization. And you can start making customized pictures with that type of stuff, which would be a really nice thing for you to do. We're a big fan of holding things up from a PR and marketing perspective. So if you've got banners and things that you can show within those posts, then great. The other thing people were asking about were, well, let me do this one first just to demonstrate. This is something that's come straight out of, you know, the expensive programs like Adobe, so Photoshop. So I absolutely love Canva for this. For those of you who are on the free one, unfortunately, this bit doesn't work. But so if I have this lovely picture, but actually I don't want that dark black background, it's a lovely smiley picture, but doesn't necessarily show off the mood and feel of what I want to demonstrate. So on this effects one here at the top, if you click on here, now I'm going to say ignore everything else on this bar apart from this top one where it says background remover. So if you click on background remover, and I'm hoping by magic this works. Sometimes it does give up the ghost, but hopefully, keep my fingers crossed. So now it's taken away the background of that image, and I would be able to drop in a background color that suits my organization. So can you
just show us one more time where you, I can see it where it is now, but you pick the picture. Sure. Go on.
So click the picture.
There you go, in effects.
And then once you've got, you know, make sure you've got your blue frame around the side because you know you clicked on the picture then effects, and then background remover.
Thank you.
So you're not having to choose the background or anything, whereas if I was using Adobe, you kind of have to put the you know, you have to dot it round and do the transparency,
yeah,
don't you?
Which is great, and I was just going to show you that as well. So occasionally it doesn't work to the best. So this picture is a great example of how it works really well. But I might want to get rid of, you know, some of the scraggly bits of hair at the top, so you can see here. So then you can you pick out a brush size, and you can, I mean, I'm just being very
get rid of her head, yeah.
But you can just you can get rid of parts like that. But sometimes I've done it. So the other great thing I love about that functionality is when I get this back off.
So that would only work if you've got a one color background though, surely.
Yeah, I was just going to show you a bad example of it. Yeah. So with this picture, it doesn't know what to pick out and what not to pick out. So it does work when there's more than one color in the background, and it can work with like two people, for example, but a big group one like this, it gets a bit flustered and doesn't know who to pick out and who to not. Yeah, so
not bad,
not bad, yeah, but it's so this. But the other thing that I do it for, so if I'm just going to pick out so we were talking before about how people have logos which have got this white frame around them, and then you can't always work in the best way for you to be able to drop it on certain colors. So again, it'll work its magic on logos and take away those backgrounds for you as well, which works really well.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
The other
thing, do a one-off payment for that? No.
Pardon, sorry?
You can't just do a one-off payment for it like you can where you download a photo.
No, unfortunately not. Sorry, you'll have to ask a friend who's got a pro version.
Yeah.
It's not I mean, it's not massively expensive, Canva, but you're all in a world where you can probably get the Pro one for free once you, but I think you have to prove some a certain amounts of constitution within the organisation. So have a look, read through the information on that, which I'll share a link for you to be able to look at, to be able to do that. I think it was on the Eventbrite as well. The thing that I do like about the background remover, so say I've got a logo here, but what I don't want all the logo, I just want the badge. So I can get rid of all of the words on the side of that. Click done. And then I can just use it without any of the other elements. So that's a really nice functionality. Michaela, you were asking about downloading. So I'll move on to what you do with it now. So we've got this particular one. In terms of downloading it, you go to this button, unsurprisingly, that says download. And you can click on there, and it always just has a suggestion for you as to what they think you should be downloading it as. And more often than not, it is the one that you want. But so here it's suggesting a PNG, which obviously is a higher quality image than a JPEG. But what I find with certain inboxes, so if you were sharing this with somebody on an email, because I share quite a lot with newsrooms, you sometimes have to download it as a JPEG because it's a smaller size file. Yeah. You can obviously do it as a PDF. If you're not printing the PDF, so say for example that women's health report that I showed you, if you're only doing it for something that you're going to share with somebody on an email, I would just use the standard one. But if you're doing it for print, then do that as a print quality PDF. And then here, obviously, if you've got bits and bobs in it that have got the movement, like we saw with that ghost GIF, you can download it as GIFs and you can download it as video too.
Can I just very quickly ask, see that SVG? Is that a pro? That's a pro one, isn't it?
Yeah, I've never downloaded it as an SVG, to be honest, because I don't think a lot of people would be able to use it in that way.
Well, you see, I've got because I'm a card design, I make handmade cards as well.
Okay.
I've got a machine that uses SVGs.
Yeah, well, there you go. Then that's something
that's what
definitely
suddenly, oh, it's SVG.
Yeah, so it was it's good to know for that. Michaela, you were asking about downloading when you don't want the white background. So if I was to just have an image on this, say I've put a circle in, and it looks like it's going to download it like this for me. If you go to download, can you see here it says transparent background? So if you click on that, again, this is the pro version. So you click on there and then you find the right page that you want. You don't always want to download all of the pages that you've got, and then it'll download it for you without any of that white background on it. So that works really well for it. The caveat around that is if this Flourish logo has the white background on it there, you need to use that effects button to get rid of it first, otherwise it will, because it still sees that as being part of the design that you want to download in that way. So you can download in lots of different ways on here. It shows you what pages you need to do. So for reports, etc., I would always pick the PDF, obviously, rather than images. And then the other bit that's on here is that you can do it in terms of sharing onto certain groups. You can actually present straight from Canva too, if you were so inclined. But what I do like on here in terms of presentations is that you can download it automatically as a PowerPoint.
Oh, wow.
So you'll download it and it'll already be in Microsoft PowerPoint for you, which is great. So lots of
so you can actually upload to Facebook and everything from here, can't you?
You can. I never do it that way, simply because we do so much scheduling of stuff and use, Hootsuite and that kind of thing, that it just becomes a bit more time consuming, and I'm all about doing things at speed. So it's not the way that we've done it before, but it has got that functionality. In this one here on the top right hand corner, I think it was you, Morag, who was asking that so the resizing button, that you say sometimes that you've got a template but you don't want to get rid of the one that you've already got. You want to be able to have it and use again. So all you need to do, there's a few different ways. So in File, you can go down to Make a Copy.
All right.
And it'll copy that for you, remix it as it calls it. So now I've got two of these. I've got my original file and I've got my second file. So you can just keep pressing copy rather than redesigning things from the start.
Right.
So that works really well. This is good for reports and things like that, which are the things that you're going to want to get printed out. On here, you can see the bleed marks. Can you see it's got this dotted line around it? So printers, I'm sure you've come across printers who say, make sure you don't type right up to the edge. And, you know, it's because they need to be able to print it out in a certain way. And you can use these guides to be able to add those onto there that shows you that. You can also, in the resize option, so I've got my copy now, and the reason in my head, the reason I've made a copy is that I've got my square social media design that I want to share on Instagram, but now I want to share it on Twitter, but I don't want to design it all again from scratch. So in the resize option, you can click on that button, press resize, and it does it the right shape and size for you for Twitter.
Oh, yeah, but that is a pro one, isn't it?
Yeah, so you will have to do a little bit of manipulation to get the proportions right, but you're not having to do the design from scratch.
The whole thing, right.
You can also do custom sizes. So I came across somebody on one of these sessions yesterday who said that a printer had asked for it as a particular size. So you've got it here in pixels, but if you click down, you can do it and look at the centimeters and actually have custom shapes and sizes that you want to be able to download as well and save it in that way. So that's a really good functionality to be able to have.
I always wondered about this.
Pardon?
You know, you've got on your top, yeah, there, that's it.
So, this is where you would be able to create GIFs, for example. I know you love a GIF, Nicola, so we'll have a look at that. So if you go on animate, it shows you how it goes in.
Oh, it's a bit like a PowerPoint presentation type of coming in different ways, right? Okay.
Yeah, but it means that you can, you know, it's a nice functionality to have on certain social media posts where it's just that little bit of movement catches somebody's eye.
Catches the eye, yeah.
And you, as from I remember, Kirsty, created a little GIF for this particular workshop, and I'm guessing you did 3 little squares, one after the other, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that one was a bit of a cheat, really, because it was a template that already had that functionality on it.
Great.
So you can use templates that will already give you that movement, which again, you know.
Where would you find those, if you don't mind?
So in the templates that you can look at them.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to get that movement on there. And if for some reason it hasn't got any movement on it, you can go back to the animate part to be able to do that for you.
So can you go into template and say movement? No, it would still have to be some kind of theme. You wouldn't be able to tell it that you want to look for one that's got movement.
No, I don't think so. That's not something that I've ever been able to do with that.
Okay.
So you would have to have one that was particularly as a design that way. Okay. But you can obviously, where we looked here, if you wanted to do that as a background one, that you can start getting your movement from adding these backgrounds onto. And again, putting it as a background is the best way to do it. So dropping it into one of those grids, and you've got that nice movement then on top of that.
Right. Okay. That's interesting. Yeah, I like that one.
Can you
Actually, the colours as well. Sorry.
Sorry, Gemma, did you say something?
Yeah, I was just saying, can you draw your own shape? Say if you're wanting to create your own logo, is there ways to do that?
Yeah, so if you're wanting to start your own logo from scratch, is that what you mean? Yeah, so you've got here different shapes that you'd be able to do that. But what I would suggest to you is, if I just take you back to the home page, you can actually go, it's got templates called logos, and then you get all of this inspiration down here as to what might work for you. What is your organisation, Gemma?
Life coach.
Oh, this is going to be very niche if it's got something up here.
There's one. It's there.
Oh, there we go.
It is there.
So, you know, you can get certain templates up that would give you some inspiration to be able to do that. And what I find is when I've been creating logos for other people, is that it's nice to look at all of these and then you just think, oh, well, I love the colors of that, or I like the icon in there, so I'll use that. And then you think how you adapt it yourself. So just always having that option to be able to not have to think from scratch as to what you want to do. Same goes for presentations. So here it'll give you examples of what your presentation could look like, and you can drop one of those in, and it's even got like 9 or 10 different pages that you can use within the presentation. So this could quite easily be changed to you know, the right colors for whatever your organization was, and then you can have all the different pages that you would use and add in your own tax and different services. So great way to be able to use all those different templates that are in there. So as you can see from here, it's got presentations, posters, flyers. Here it's got animated socials. So if you wanted to, there's the answer for you, Nicola, in terms of having ones that have already got movement on them. So you can look in them that way and think how it best works for you.
Just need another 2 days in the week now.
Don't we all? Yeah, that's the trouble. I mean, it's finding that right balance. I heard you chatting to somebody when we had the break. It's some things you do want other people to do for you. I know it's always like a money issue, but is it worth your time spending time on this when somebody else can do it for you? It's having that, creating that balance where you're best spending your time for your business, isn't it? So thinking about both ways is good, really. I just wanted to show you this quickly as well. So some of you may already have design brand guidelines because you've had websites built and it will have come with there. But if you haven't, I would create one of your own. I've not, you know, I've just chosen these texts at random. So it's not one you can
Ours
just.
is called, we've got 2 texts. We've got Nimrali, Semilight, and Rajamani or something. I can't pronounce it.
So you should be able to upload those, like I showed you before, Nicola, in the in this brand kit.
Yeah.
So if you uploaded your own fonts in there, then
Yeah, because you can download them from Google, can't you?
Yeah, it depends whether they were free fonts in the first place as to whether you would be able to get those. But if you can, then my advice would be to put them in. But I like having this as a reminder when I'm doing stuff for different clients and for our own organisation. Right. So you know how you're going to have your logo, you know how it's best to be presented, you know which text you're meant to be using. So, and I always tell myself, like, right, well, that particular text is for headlines. That one I'll use as a secondary text, and then you've got your main body text, so you know which ones you're working with. Here, I've put all my colour codes in, so I know which ones I'm going to be using for my organisation. I said before that if you didn't know the codes, then the other great functionality of this is that because I've got your logo, Nicola, within this particular design, can you see here on the left-hand side where it says photo colours?
Yeah.
So I can pick out the colour of your logo because it's in there, which is a nice aspect to have. And it also has other photos. So these photos that I've got in here, well, it's told me all the different purples that it's got that link to this photo, which when you're building up social media posts, to have those complementary colours to the picture that you've got in, works really nicely. I mean, this will be an interesting experiment to see how it works with this one because there's so many colours on it. But if we were to look at the colours on here, so it shows me all the different colours that are being picked out from that particular photo. So it's obviously picked out the seat here for that colour, but you can see how it'd complement nicely to use as a background colour, picking out a colour from the pictures that you're using. So that would be a nice way of doing that.
Where are you in now to have tested this out? I can see it says animate, but we were in social media templates. So
no, you don't need to be in any templates. So if I drop a photo in, so we go back to our uploads, and I've picked out this, I'll start again with this image. So I found the image that I want to drop in.
Yeah.
and then you can see that, can you see the blue line all the way around? Because
on the box, yeah.
So I clicked on the box, and then you go up to the background colour section here, and that's where it'll tell you
Righty-ho.
the photo colours. I showed you before in this particular section where you've got the brand kit. So what it'll do, if you've populated that with your brand colours, when you come here, it'll also pick those out for you. So you know which colour palettes to be able to stick to.
Yeah.
I think.
Keep your brand colours. Sorry, does it just know your brand colours? Do you save them as your brand colours?
So no, you would have to know them. If you've got a logo, that's where you would start in terms of that. So it'll pick out colours from stuff that you upload. So if you wanting to get, for example, your brand colours from your website, but you don't know them, I would do a screenshot of the different colours that are on your website and upload them as a picture, and then drop them in and be able to get them that way.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, folks, I'm going to have to go. I've got a live that I need to do. Okay.
Fine. Thanks for joining us, Maura.
Take care. See you
Bye.
later.
And the other thing, Gemma, if you don't know where to find those, so you can see I've clicked on this word logo, and you can see so if I go on the text colour here, if I click on new colour, you can see the colour code at the bottom. So you can make a note of those to be able to think, right, well, that's one of the brand colours that I want to be able to use. And then I would put them in this makeshift brand guidelines for you to be able to use them so that you know where they are. And then I always give myself a bit of a prompt as to how I want to use text. So which way round you want to do it if you're working with colours. Customizing my social media icons to make them fit into my brand colours. Making sure you know what your regulatory information is in case you have to include that on posters and things like that. And then again, with these icons, that you've customized them into the colours that work for you and your designs. And the same goes for photos. So obviously something like a light bulb to go along with, I've had a bright idea about this, but instead of just searching light bulb, I would search light bulb purple because it fits in with my brand colours. And then hopefully it comes up with different options for you. So just always trying to think how it's going to work best for my particular brand is what my advice would always be. Now, these are obviously very simple brand guidelines that you would be able to use, but I did do some more recently for a client, which I just wanted to show you a couple of things in there amongst all of my other stuff. Where are we? Yeah. So I was saying before about making sure that you have your content presented in a certain way. And I would always suggest like having 2 ways of your logo. Nicola, you mentioned that you've got 4 different colours, so knowing when's the right time to use those.
Yeah.
Presentation of certain logos on marketing materials, thinking about the different sizes that you use your logo in. This is the colour palettes for this particular organisation. You know which fonts that you're going to be able to use. And then the one that I wanted to particularly show you is this the social media branding. So what I always try and have as a mantra to myself is think, well, I'm going to post something that's got a quote on it and that has a particular design. So if it's from a client, then I would make sure that I posted it in this template. If it's coming from myself, I'll post it in this template. So you know it becomes recognizable as to which ones that you want to do. And then I would always try and stick to a certain type of photo that I used if I'm using ones that aren't my own photos. So these have been picked out because this organisation wants to be able to highlight people who are Black and from ethnic minority backgrounds. So you make sure you pick those out with certain colours that match their brand. And then this is one is where I've got the filter over the top of it. I wanted to show you this because this particularly works well for Instagram. So you can see here, if you stick to a mantra with stuff, it's like, right, I'm going to post something that's got the pink filter over the top, and then my next colour, and then the yellow. And then you go and you repeat that pink, blue, yellow, pink, blue, yellow, and you get this pretty looking grid where you've got like these diagonals of colours that are going on there. People love, it's not as necessary on things like Facebook and Twitter because people don't see it in this way, but people consume Instagram by looking at a grid. So you have to be thinking about how you're keeping that nice and pretty for that to work. So I think I've given you enough to be thinking about in terms of how Canva works, and I'm more than happy to take any further questions if you think there's any functionalities that you still don't know how to get to grips with. But I hope that that's been useful and that you will be able to use it for your social media posts in the future. And as I say to everybody, I'm more than happy if you want, I'll leave my email in the chat. If you want to share some designs with me now, you can share the screen, or if you want to send me some that you have a practice of, then you're more than welcome. I can give you feedback on those.
Brilliant, thank you, Kirsty.